Hi guys, wee Bob here, and these are my top 10 tips for digital artists that are just getting started out, beginners. So here we go. As you can see on my screen, we've got Newt Returns. This is one of the first drawings I did after a long break from digital art, and I thought, right, I want to get back into digital art. It was during lockdown. I'm like, okay, and I'd really just taken a break, so I lost a lot of skills. Anyway, let's get into the first one. Is do not zoom in too much. Think about your drawing and the size that you want it to be. So most people watch YouTube on a smaller screen. So it might be their monitor, and it might be something different. It might be that they're watching it on an iPhone. That really matters when it comes to drawing, because you can zoom in to the nth degree and get every little detail correct, but it's not going to make a difference. Nobody's ever going to see it unless this is getting put on a billboard, and even then people are seeing it from a distance, so it's not the size of a billboard that matters, it's how far away the person is from viewing the stuff that you're drawing. I tend to draw it kind of A3 size, and that's what I kind of use my brain to think around what size I want these to be. So next tip is start with a dark background. So most of the time now I start with a dark background, and the reason for that is because when you're trying to bring out an object, you don't have to draw the whole object. You can actually just use light to show what the object is. If, for instance, I look at this alien on the left hand side here, you can see that the alien is just a kind of outline. Let's say we want to go down here and we want to show some more of the wall. I'm not going to draw all the minutiae detail of the wall. I might draw it in smaller little circles like that to show a kind of tunnel going away. And most of the drawing here is just lightness in the shadow. So start with a dark background. It's a great way to start. It's a great way to begin a drawing. Not always the case, it depends what you're drawing, but for the 9 times out of 10 I use a dark background. Even if it's a light drawing, I'm going to end up with in the end. Tip number 3 is do not use too many brushes. I use approximately 5 brushes. I've got a handy one here, which is like, it's got paintbrush strokes to it. I've got a hard solid one here, and that's more for outlining. I've got an airbrush for doing the likes of skin or trying to make a nice smooth transition, and then there's a couple of other ones that I would maybe bring in to try and add some texture to a drawing. I use like 5 brushes at the most, and then occasionally I'll bring in the odd brush for a textured piece, whether it be skin or something like that. Anyway, that's tip number 3. Don't use too many brushes, you'll get lost. I've got about 500, I use 5. So I use 1% of the brushes that I've got pretty much all the time. So number 4, set yourself a time limit. One of the biggest problems I had getting back into this was that I didn't know where to start, I didn't know how to start, and it was really quite a lot of my drawings took ages to even begin. And it was because I was looking at references and I'm going, okay, I want to draw that, and I want to draw this, and I want to draw that, and I would end up not drawing anything. The best thing to do is to find 2 references. This is how I do it anyway. I find 2 references I'm trying to put together. I maybe spend half an hour on a drawing to begin with and see where it goes, see where it ends up, see how it turns out, and then I spend another half hour and then another half hour, and I just keep going like that. So set yourself a time limit, get your pen to paper and get it done. Don't sit and think about it too much, and don't think when you start drawing that doesn't look right. Yes, you're going to do that, but don't let it stop you. Just keep ploughing through that half hour, keep ploughing through that 1 hour. Try to do it every day, because every day art really makes a difference, and you'll find that after a few weeks. So that's tip number 4. Tip number 5, great art takes time. My drawings that I think are okay, are pretty decent, take about 15 hours. So if you're looking at League of Legends, if you're looking at any game art, that is taking somebody about 15 hours minimum to do it. I've been watching a lot of YouTube artists who actually do game art for big companies, and they tend to take about 15 plus hours to get that eventual final product that goes to the company. So good art takes time. You're not going to produce a masterpiece in a matter of minutes. Anyway, tip number 6, don't get too hung up on your reference and follow structure. So if you're looking at a reference and you're using it for all your shadows and you're not getting it quite right, don't worry too much about it, because you'll end up not doing anything. Just think about the structure of the nose, how far it maybe comes out from the face, and then try and follow the shadow over. Don't get too hung up in copying your reference. Cheers guys, remember to like and subscribe, and cheers, bye. Hi guys, wee Bob. Hi guys, wee Bob here, and
Hey, how was that? Was I scary? Do I get the part? Thank you. Can I do it again? I can be taller.